Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 261 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to hook up our puffer sulfur setup and see how it runs. Enjoy! Alright, well we're waiting on stuff to arrive, but we can kind of start testing a little bit of this. So this should make our limestone. Oh yeah, we need to hook up the mud as well. Oh, we can do that in a second. Oh, this should basically be green. Yep, seems good. So the mud comes up. Mud has to be equal or greater than 600 to go somewhere. Let's pipe the fuel in, and then when we do, this should start running. Let's see, has that got a limit on it? Yep. Let's see, I'm guessing we want this to be nearsighted. And these ones... oh, they're just not going to the right place. Anyway, making all our frames. Well, this is making all of our wastewater, and they are being cleaned of their acid gas and going back, but as you can see, because it's basically empty there, we need way more than we have. Okay, we've got some acid gas to process. So this is actually going to start making us some sulfur again. And we'll see if this is enough filter frames. It's not quite, although I think it's just getting through here, so it probably will be when it's all said and done. So that should be fine. Let's see, it stopped running because it just went through everything. There's no leftover gases on each side. They're all gone. They got processed into what they needed. Oh, it's the carbon dioxide on here was never hooked up to anything. Oopsies, but let's hook that up now. Oh, and it just so happened to be lined up perfectly with the carbon dioxide up here. That was a happy accident. These should probably be nears and fars. Okay. We need way more filters for this. So let's just grab the 1,000 of them. Feels good to see sulfur flying again. Let's just dump all the filter frames in here. And it's going at full speed, and what's the full speed of this? Basically half. But we can possibly fill this up a little faster if we just make this red. By the way, if we ever find ourselves with limestone, this is probably a really good place to put it. Or specifically lime, I suppose. Which we probably deal with it enough times that it will actually be convenient. And this will probably be a good place for limestone to go. Under 200. Well, we don't have a terribly large amount of filter frames in here. I was kind of hoping we would have more, because 200 doesn't seem like enough. Because it's going to pretty quickly go through those when it's running. Because it has to go all the way down there, all the way up, and then in there again. Uh-oh, sun's going down. Okay. 1,000 more frames ought to do the trick. Hopefully, though, we're making some ammo? Yes. It's happening slowly, but the cordite is being made, which will be sent down to the ammo bus. It's just going to take quite a while for that process to actually happen, which is unfortunate. Probably going to take the entire night Does the wall still have some amount of ammo on it? Yeah. It's holding out. Probably should keep this up so hopefully we start seeing sulfur being stored soon. Kind of want to just let this go through its whole selection first, but we'll have to check later. It's possible that it's going to overload on carbon dioxide because our ability to get rid of it is limited. I think that occurs right here, which it does. And it's actually doing a good job. It's just it has a long way to flow, so that's the best it can do. Let's let this fill up. So these are all loaded up with sulfuric wastewater. Let's see, are we making the puffer atmosphere? No, because we need the hydrogen fluoride gas to be hooked up. Oh yeah, and this is a situation where it takes some to make some. I think we can reverse it, right? Yeah, in a chemical plant, and we can just dump the leftovers. So we'll do the chemical plant and a clarifier. Alright, so if we do that, it'll separate it into wastewater, which we can just dump and get rid of. And I guess we'll give it efficiencies. And the other bit can go in here. And to do so, we'll have a pump there saying if this is below, let's say 4,000, it will turn on. And boo, there's some stuff in the way. But well, unfortunately, that's going to go in a loop. I was kind of hoping it could be a permanent setup, but for now, this has to be unhooked. So I think the way this works is we actually need to kind of pick all that up. So if that is trying to get this up to 4,000, we need to line this up here with a room for a pump in here. So if this is trying for 4,000 and it holds 20, let's say this one is 10,000 to get it to halfway. Or at least it has to be above halfway for that to run at all. And then if it's above 80%, that will go. So now this should go up and it's not doing a huge circle. It doesn't seem to be. But the positions of these change slightly and it just quite can't reach. There we go, that's getting pumped in. So all these are getting their hydrogen fluoride, yes. Looks like the gases got all mixed up. Let's see, this is the oxygen gas, which goes in here. I see. Well, let's unhook this for a second and delete all of that. Oops, that was the base's. Wrong side, that was the base's oxygen gas, not that side. Oops. Well. We're gonna suddenly generate a lot of slag while we fill it up again. Oh well. Let's see here. Well, it is correctly this side, but it's not this side. In fact, it should just go across here. So that has oxygen, that has oxygen, and then it's the gas which comes in right here. Will it fit? Right in here? That is one mess of pipes. It does. Well, the sulfur's coming in here, and it's making the atmosphere. Getting these puffers ready. Oh yeah, we need the nutrient pulp still. How much acid are we building? A little bit. Well, one thing we can do is just have a pump in here. Into, like, a tank. And another pump. Just to try to have a bit of a buffer here. Because I do want the rest of this stuff to keep running. Because we are short. Okay, so nutrient pulp then. It's going to be a little harder to get here. But still quite possible. We kind of don't want to use any spaces here that have already been used. But I think we can use this next one up here. So we kind of want to come in through this spot. And I guess up through here like everything else. And this comes up. Nutrient pulp is over here somewhere. That's pressurizing it away. But it should probably only do it if there's some in there. Maybe above 10,000. That way we always have a little bit for our puffers. So they should connect all the way down. Then we have a new line to take, like right about here. Oh wow, that fits right there. And line it up. Hooked up. So hopefully the puffers now have everything they need, and it looks like it. We just need to start doing the puffing. And it looks like with hopefully some puffers have already been delivered, but we already self-delivered some of them. Might want to turn the puffer fart sounds back down, because those are a little noisy. Hopefully we have enough to have this thing running at full blast. Probably not. But the filter frames are getting down here. And the outputs of the puffers are being turned into sulfur, which is that part, but also cleaning these frames gives us more, which is generating a bunch of sulfur. I think we're going to get almost a full belt out of this. And it looks like they're all going. And it is metering them out a little bit at a time. Let's see if there's any holdups. Well, this is the thing that's actually processing everything, so if it's moving at full blast, then that's good. And same here. Looks like we're not quite using the sulfuric wastewater, but that could just be because we have slightly more of these than we have the puffers. So this makes 224, and I guess we can just kind of select the whole thing. That our production rate is slightly higher than our consumption, so the limiting factor is the puffers. And they are going at full blast. There we go. There we go. That's about what I wanted to see. Because we are looking at 25.8, and that about looks like 25.8. And it filled up on the hydrogen fluoride, so this process has stopped. But the level of gas is increasing because we have a surplus of it, which makes sense. Oh, look at all that yummy sulfur. So it goes into the warehouse, and the warehouse then sends it down. It's kind of an unnecessary thing to do there, but whatever. Let's see if this holds true. It seems like it is, because the status of these tanks are going up slightly. So it seems like this is holding, which means we are generating more acid. They're not necessarily balanced, because this isn't a full belt of acid. So all of these aren't necessarily balanced with each other. Just as long as we're using all of the available sulfur to make acid, it should be good. Well, one thing I would like to do is add that to the circuit HUD, and then I have to figure out which one of these many things is for circuit HUD. Oh, there we go, it's HUD combinator. One of the many combinators. We'll just put it right here. And connect it, which will put the acid in here. I wonder if we make it the same name as the other one, if it will combine it. Doesn't look like it. We'd have to send it on the same wire, which I think we can, really. It's not that far away. That the acid wire is right here, so it simply needs to continue. While not crossing with anything else. So there we go. That's in there. And we could probably just name this acids. That'll be more accurate. And let's hook up the other storage tanks. So we want nitric acid, hydrofluoric acid, and then way down here, The wire should be coming down. Yep, attached to here. So we can hook it up to the hydrochloric acid as well. And there we go. We've got all of our acids and the components that go into them. Looking good, and I've noticed now. Oh, those are noisy. But now we are generating sulfur, which is making the gas. And the reason why we don't have the nitric acid item is because nitric acid is made directly from this process. It doesn't create the byproduct item, which is the sodium nitrate. So that's why this warehouse is at 0. The acids are being held where they should be. That one's at 10,000 while the rest of them are basically holding at 50. So we are now generating a tiny bit. I imagine these acids are still running, and they are, because now we are using it to make ammo. Is it actually making it down here? Looks like it just did. Yeah, because we're starting to get magazines again. Well, that's one thing that's hooked up. I would also like to make more explosives. And this is set to have a minimum of 1,000. We probably should have a bigger buffer than that. So probably like 5,000. So we can wait for a second and let this fill up. But I guess the acid has now made it up to here as well, so everything is filled up, so we'll be able to finally test our nickel after that giant detour. One that would have involved the factory being destroyed by biters if we didn't take it seriously, so we kind of had to. And I really don't like how that biter evolution keeps creeping up, because they're forming more nests, and said nests are getting blowed up, because we're kind of having trouble defending the wall. We need bigger turrets, or more of them. Although I suppose we could always do some different types. For example, we have the laser turrets that we're not building, but they're probably not as good as just using ammo. Then there's the plasma turrets, which require the alien artifacts, which we haven't even attempted to use. And I imagine we have the flamethrower turrets too. If they want to catch us on fire, we'll catch them on fire too. The thing that really helps is that it has a much longer range of 30 compared to just 20 for the normal turrets. Although the sniper turrets are also 50, so that's something we can do. We'll have to see. Well, I kind of want to just see this work, so let's set this back to 1,000 for now. And then crank it up when everything seems to be working. So making explosives again. Awesome, awesome. And even despite this, we are still generating sulfur, which is great. This whole thing, well, it stopped. That's not good. Why did it stop? The filter frames are not getting processed because acid gas is full. Because carbon dioxide... That's weird how it suddenly cleared out. Well, we can have a tank right here then. With a flare stack. In an overflow. Just because it has a long way to travel. And that's probably why it's having issues. Well, seems like it's holding up so far. You know, it feels kind of cheaty to put pollution modules in there considering we are flaring stuff away. So maybe I'll just put speed modules in there. So that clears that out. It's going at full blast again. Since the dumps are set to 80, we probably want this to be slightly lower than the dumps. Uh-oh. Let's say like 12,000. So what's going on here? Yeah. The problem is they're just shooting the fire and the fire is burning everything. It's so many biters. But it's holding. But we do need places for the biters to actually park, so they don't have to travel quite as far to fix things. Probably should have a chest in there holding things that they can use to quickly fix the wall, but I think this will be fine. Yeah, I'm worried about that biter evolution going up kind of fast. Let's see, so this seems to be running again. Getting it down to 12,000. We shouldn't see these carbon dioxide producers going, and we aren't. And down here, it should still be running at full blast. And it seems to be. One thing we can do to reduce the evolution is to use these terraforming stations. They're fueled with spawner stimulant, and I haven't tried using that to reduce evolution, so it'll be interesting to test. But that is something we can do if we need to. If the evolution gets too high, it's not really that bad right now. It's just every once in a while, the biters do manage to damage some things. But the robots are pretty good about getting them fixed before it becomes an issue. But I am kind of worried. Meanwhile, making almost our full belt of explosives. So I imagine, yep, those are filling up a train, and it will eventually be sent down here to keep production going. But for now, ammo's being made, and cordate's coming in too, so all of that's good. And I guess since we have more than 5,000, we can set this to that number now. So everything is looking pretty good. Now we can get charged real quick and go back to our ingot processing setup. And after all of that work and biter distractions, we can hook up the sulfuric acid to the nickel machines and see how it works. And then anything else we build, hopefully we will have the necessary acids now, so we can test and see how it works. Because it kind of sucks to build a setup and then you can't test it. You just have to stare at it. It's like, how do you know it's working? Or kind of like what would happen to me is I would just assume it's fine and then go do other things and not realize it's bad for like a long time. But acid is in there. It's completely full, ready to go. So let's pipe the nickel in. Seems fine to me. And that quickly fills up to 1,000 and blocks up. And that one blocks up and it goes down the line. So that's looking great. Some other things we can do here that I forgot to do is just put some lights in here, because it's mighty dark. Even though we have night vision, it's still nice to have things hooked up so you can actually see. There we go, a little brighter. But one other thing that was unhooked for a while to save on sulfuric acid is just the sulfuric acid train for delivering it where it needs to go. Okay, these are loud too. Seems like both the oil presses and the bioprocessors are loud. But the acid train is up here, so might as well hook it up again. Alright, finally took care of all of that. But unfortunately that's the end of the episode. On the next one we are going to work on aluminum, zinc, and expanding our glycerol production. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.